Hello, this is János, it's Real World Audio, and I'm continuing my Lifeline for audiophiles series by popular, repeated and frequent demands that I started back in 2023, and I think since September I haven't made any more videos on it, although I promised that I will make. So the promise is made good today. So I'm using CDC's homepage just as a, oops, that's going too far, as a backdrop, and because it offers some nice themes to go around. And of course CDC is really concerned about the noise level and hearing loss, because that's a huge problem. A lot of occupations have occupational hazards of being too loud, exposing workers, us, to continued loud noises, and that results in hearing damage and hearing loss, which is occupational hearing loss. However, what I am interested in and what you are interested in, those who are watching my channel, is not occupational hearing loss, but hearing damage caused by your stereo system. So what can we do about it? And not just hearing damage, because that's a collateral damage that occurs. And what this Lifeline series is about is, number one, how to prevent it, so that you don't get to this stage where those people who are looking at this website got that they already have hearing damage, and are using these figures to try to figure out how much insurance claim they can have for their lost hearing, which is usually not nearly enough to compensate you for for the loss of the ability to hearing. Anyway, so my focus about hearing is for you, number one, to be able to establish, to observe, to be aware when you are in danger of compromising your hearing through too high volume levels. What are those volume levels? Is your dB meter, can you use your dB meter to help with that? Because I received a question that, okay, I have a sound pressure meter, but it is C-weighted scale, so 99% of the sound pressure level meters that people have at homes that you buy, if you click randomly at a SPL meter and you buy it online, or you go to a store and you buy it, those that are at sane prices and most widely available, those are C-weighted. And here we have the figures that says A-weighted. So A-weighted is from 20 Hertz to 20 kilohertz, so it's like a really wide frequency range. And C-weight is much narrower, so it's missing the deep, so like I think it starts from 50 Hertz, correct me if I'm wrong, and it goes to 16 kilohertz. So it's missing the highest highs and the low lows. So an octave missing from the bottom, and about maybe like half an octave from the top. And how does that impact us? So first I would like to just talk about that. How applicable are your C-weighted measurements? So what you have measured, how does it compare to this table? Because you measured it in C-scale, C-weighted scale, and here what danger you are in is referred to in A-weighted scale, and there's no scale published for C-weight. So what can I do? So number one, when you take the C-weighted scale measurement, it measures that range, which is like 50 Hertz through 16 kilohertz. I hope I got these numbers wrong. I mean, right. Right. Sorry, it's been a long day for me at work. So you have a narrower range, and that will already tell you of an average stereo system what is the pressure, sound pressure, the volume coming from that system. And if you take that number, let's say you have measured like 82 dB C weighted, then that's pretty much applicable or comparable to an 82 dB A weighted scale, provided that your stereo system did not reproduce much frequencies below 50 Hz or above 16 kHz. Then the number you read is comparable to the number that you can find here in this figure. Now, when are you going to have a discrepancy? You are going to have a discrepancy when that deep bass below 50 Hz, like between 20 Hz and 50 Hz, if your system reproduces very high amount of those frequencies, then the number you read with your C-weighted meter, it's going to be lower than the actual number. And how much lower? It depends on how boosted those frequencies are compared to the average listening level. So if you have a big Mongo sub and you crank the fried fish out of it, and it's like 20 dB louder than the average, than the 0 dB level of what you are listening to, then yeah, if you measure 82 dBA, dBc, then on the dBA scale it was probably like 102 dBA. So in that case you are way off. However, if you have your sub like evenly calibrated to 0 dB with your main system and it measures flat, then even then the dBA dBc measurements would be comparable. They won't be wildly off. Same goes for the high frequencies as well, above 16 kHz. And I would say that for these are by far more dangerous than the bass notes, because for the bass it's kind of easy to notice if the room is overloaded with deep bass. Yeah, that's everyone notices it very easily, that there is something really huge going on, and then you can just add a lot, maybe add easily like 10 to the measurement that you took on a dBc scale to get like a number that would tell you which is the safe limit to listen to that system. And when you read that number, if you are listening to that longer than that during one day, cumulatively, so maybe let's say you get like 97 dBA, and it means 30 minutes. So you have a total of 30 minutes that you can spend the whole day listening to it. Maybe like 3 times 10 minutes during the course of the day. If you do more than that, then you are in danger of damaging your hearing. And so based on if you feel that there's like too much really deep bass, then you need to crank down either the bass amount just to protect the hearing, or just the entire SPL. Just turn off either your volume or turn down the sub. Because if you fail to do either or, then you are going to damage your hearing. And that's why people lose their hearings very, very rapidly who have subwoofers and they just crank it up very loud and they listen to the music like that, because you can feel the bass, right? It's awesome, it's perfect. But if you continue to do that, then you will very easily get into that range that it becomes damaging to your hearing. And it can become damaging because the average SPL at like 1 kilohertz level, which is kind of the region where the human mind determines how loud the music is, that those sounds where we speak, the speech sounds, that's where we are most sensitive. And if it's loud, like let's say 500 hertz to 5 kilohertz, it's really loud, then we perceive that it's very loud. Even if the bass is not as loud, or 20 kilohertz not as loud, we still think it's super loud. But once we get those speech frequencies quiet them down, 500 hertz through 5 kilohertz, really nice and quiet. Even if you crank up the deep bass, you crank up the 10 kilohertz pass, you would think that you are listening quietly. However, when you measure with your meter, you add the minutes up, then you will notice that you easily are hitting already the damaging level with 15 minutes. And because you are listening to the speech part quietly, your brain thinks and your conscious mind thinks you have 8 to 4 hours that you will be in the safe zone, while in the reality you might have 15 minutes or less before hearing damage sets on. And that's why people can have really experience excessive listening fatigue, because the stereo systems tend to really do extreme damage with the very high frequencies at the 16 plus kilohertz zone, which is sadly that zone where your dB, the C-weighted sound pressure meter won't tell you what's going on. So you will still think that it measures safe, but it doesn't. So the only way to be able to tell how those high frequencies are doing is to use an organic sound pressure meter, not a digital one, not an electric one, an organic one. And I can recommend two brands, two types. One brand is the dog brand and the other is the cat brand. So what happens is that when you turn on your music and your dog or your cat runs out of the room, it means that your 16 plus kilohertz region is damaging your ear. And probably even just spending 1 minute listening to whatever you are listening to will damage your hearing. And if you don't notice that, then probably it has already damaged your hearing to a point that you are already having a compromised hearing. And most of us sadly just think that, oh, it is natural for a male person to lose our hearings after the age 40 or 50 or 60. It's totally okay that we don't hear bad shit. But no, it's not okay. In my experience, it happens not, there's clearly a genetic component to it, but what you can do of your own initiative has at least as much say in it as your genetics. And it is you who define your listening habits, who define whether by the age of 60, 70, you really lose all the ability to enjoy any high frequency coming from a loudspeaker, even if you crank it below, beyond Valhalla, you still won't hear anything. Even your neighbor's dogs go woo 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 when you turn on your stereo, because it's just, just obliterating everything. It's so loud, high frequencies, but you still don't hear it because it's gone. And it's not gone just because of age. Yeah, it diminishes with age, your ability to hear the highs, but if you cultivated your listening skills and you have not damaged your hearing, then you will be still able to appreciate a lot of high frequencies. However, this is not as simple, because in life also work happens to us. So that's why I have Neosh's the CDC's site here, because a lot of us, a lot of males, we also are losing our hearing due to occupational hazards. And that's something when that happens to you. and you can't do anything about that, or you cannot do much. You already lost your hearing, that's it. What can you do? And number one thing that you can do when you have been subjected to such an injustice from life is that when you listen to music, just do not push it too loud, because that's going to erode your hearing more. If you already totally lost your high frequency hearing ability, then I would say you are not at danger of tragically increasing the loss anymore. Then you can be more free about what sort of SPLs you listen to, and of course the louder you listen to, the more it will resemble that you are hearing music and not just muted sounds. But just beware that crank up your stereo only when you are alone listening to the music, and when you have friends, family over, especially young children, be extremely mindful that those levels which for you are totally normal, enjoyable, non-fatiguing at all, because you can't hear those frequencies anymore, which would be doing the fatigue, for those young people, the young generation, they will do severe harm, severe damage, and will take away decades from their life of enjoying music and sound. So I think that's what I really wanted to share today, is that what we can do with A weight versus C weight measurements, and mostly with the C weight measurement that most people have at home. Those meters, they are able to tell you the approximate level which is that you hear, which is comparable to what your brain thinks how loud it is. Compared to that, the A weight, it also, which is here in this table as well, it also tells you more about the danger zone, about the super low and the super high frequencies, which most of us can't tell if they are present or not unless you have trained yourself and you can still physically hear them. There was one more thing that I wanted to mention, and actually if you want to have like an A-weighted measurement system, because it says like dBA, there's a very easy way to get one, provided you have a cell phone. You can find apps for it which measure SPL, and you can just download it. I already shared in the past those apps, however, the commentary on that is that the microphone in your phone is not calibrated, and especially in the extreme range, at the lows and the highs, it will be way off. So it's although like technically the computer inside your phone, it makes the measurement from 20 Hz to 20 kilohertz, but the data that it gets from the microphone under 100 Hz and above 10 kilohertz is just junk. It has very little relationship towards what is going on actually, and also the level that you are measuring is not calibrated, so it might be off by 20 dB. So that's what I experienced, like comparing my iPad to a phone, is that they had like 15 dB difference, like measuring side by side, same thing. The numbers were 15 dB off between one and the other. But when you can get a calibrated measuring microphone, stick it into your phone, and then it will measure accurate SPL levels, and also it will measure 20 Hz to 20 kilohertz wide range. So I think that's like something fun that one can do, and to be more aware of what's going on in your home, and that's what I really advocate, that just try to learn about stuff and educate yourself, and that's what's going to have the most impact, because like people like me just talking stories, it just has a limited application and limited usefulness. It becomes much more alive and we can do something about it. And the good news is that I have bought such a calibrated microphone for my phone, and I haven't shown it yet. And actually I got that calibrated microphone through the Buy Me a Coffee funding, so that's coming from you, that's your gift to me, and I'm going to make a video on it, like how you can use that. And I have an Apple phone, and I will show the app that I will use with it, and we'll demonstrate it and show you guys how it works and what can be done with it, and how it is different compared to not using a calibrated microphone. So is it worth to pay like $25 for that calibrated microphone? Is it going to give you more usability than just the phone with its internal microphones? So thank you for tuning in. I hope this episode was helpful and we became a little bit more aware of our hearing. And have an amazing day. Protect your hearing, and see you next time. Bye bye.